BitBills to relaunch. Cold storage patent application published by United States Patent and Trademark Office. By Brian Cohen with Adam B. Levine. Read by Adam B. Levine. Douglas Fiegelson's patent application 201301664555, quote, creating and using digital currencies, was published by the United States Patent and Trademark Office last Thursday, June 27th. Mr. Fiegelson is the founder of BitBills. While the patent application has not been assigned to his company BitBills, it is clearly for the BitBills cold storage concept. Cold storage refers to a method of keeping bitcoins, quote, off the grid, as a means to keep a user's bitcoins secure. If the USPTO grants the patent application, it could have an impact on other Bitcoin cold storage concepts, such as Canton Becker's Bitcoin paper wallet, or even Mike Caldwell's Cassasius coin. So what does it mean? Bitcoin consultant John Light elaborates.
BitBills is attempting to monopolize a very broad product category. It's not unusual for companies to file defensive patents to prevent others from filing first and blocking the use of their idea. However, it remains to be seen whether this is an offensive measure or purely defensive.
On June 26th, a day before the patent publication, it was announced by BitBills in the Bitcoin forum that, quote, we are going to begin producing BitBills once again. The next generation product will feature a revised design, new denominations, and easier redemptions. We will be releasing all the details in the next couple of weeks, but I wanted to share this exciting news with you now, end quote. And further, BitBills stated, quote, after around 2 years, me and Llama have been wondering if we should restart BitBills. We relaunched the site yesterday and haven't seen all too many people visit it, so I wanted to post here to see if anyone would want to buy a few if we were to restart. If we can get enough interest, we should be able to get the supplies to restart as soon as next week. It would be a lot cheaper than the alternatives we know of. We think having a cheap way to get people bitcoins in real life is an important step into mass introduction. We wanted to make denominations of 0.2, 0.5, 1.0, etc., but we could possibly do lower amounts. The following text is taken from the abstract of the patent application. Quote, among other things, a physical device carries value and can be physically delivered in a transaction. The physical device includes a representation of the value carried by the physical device. The representation is usable to transfer a value from the physical device to a digital domain. A security feature can change from a state indicating the value carried by the physical device has not been compromised to a state indicating that the value carried by the physical device may have been compromised. The change in state is detectable, the representation of the value carried by the physical device being inaccessible except in the manner that causes the security feature to change state. The patent claims under 0076 figure 8, quote, BitBills are the first and only bitcoins in physical form, end quote. Bitaddress.org, the open-source JavaScript client-side Bitcoin wallet generator, who some refer to as, quote, the grandfather of cold storage, end quote, has a web cache on the Wayback Machine dating back to September 22nd, 2011, and the website was registered September 4th, 2011, according to the Whois search. BitBills has a cache dating back to at least May 11th, 2011, and the website was registered April 20th, 2011. Curiously, BitBills' original website snapshot lists a Kugel LLC. Kugel appears to be a secretive project that may or may not be similar to Bitspend and reportedly is or was a, quote, arbitrage business listing thousands of items for sale, end quote. In episode 19 of Let's Talk Bitcoin podcast just released, we received listener mail asking us how to transfer bitcoins to a paper wallet. Security expert and Let's Talk Bitcoin contributor Andreas Amantonopoulos, also the founder of Safe Paper Wallet, explained to the self-proclaimed Bitcoin newbie how cold storage works.
The paper wallet itself is really just a way to store keys. And so each paper wallet has a public address, which is the same as your wallet address. It starts with a number 1. It also has a private address that's hidden, preferably covered with some kind of security sticker to make sure it can't be compromised easily. So the way you send to it is rather simple. The way you would send money to a friend, you would get the public address off the wallet, and you would update your address book on your online wallet, and then you would just send Bitcoin to it. Now, that Bitcoin essentially gets locked on the blockchain with the paper wallet key and just sits there on the blockchain until you unlock it with the other part of the paper wallet.
Although cold storage purports to keep users' Bitcoin secure, one should always consider multiple backups for their Bitcoin. Hurricane Sandy brought to public light that while bank safe deposits are fireproof, they're not protected against flood. As John Heelshire of the Herald Tribune further points out, quote, deposit boxes are not as safe as you think. The contents of the safe deposit box are not covered by their banks or the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Banks are not liable for damage to safe deposit boxes caused by flood, fire, or theft. Coinbase, for example, keeps their users' bitcoins in cold storage, in flash drives and paper wallets. Quote, "We can safely move about 90% of those funds offline. We do this by taking the sensitive data that would normally reside on our servers, the private keys which represent the actual bitcoins, and moving them to USB sticks and paper backups. We then take these to a safe deposit box at an actual bank." End quote. The first safe deposit box company, the Safe Deposit Company of New York, was established in 1865. Aaron Elstein of Cranes recently reported that safe deposit boxes, a banking relic, fade away. Security issues, online access, have safe deposit boxes on the way to oblivion. If issued, the enforcement of this patent could crush the nascent and growing open source ecosystem surrounding paper wallets and cold storage. Charles Hoskinson, founder of the Bitcoin Education Project, has dealt with intellectual property issues for years. He advised this is just the beginning of their journey.
Typically, when a patent is issued, it isn't a closed and shut case, but rather the first step in solidifying a company's intellectual property. A company usually must litigate the patent and win prior to it being considered durable. And also, this scenario doesn't eliminate the possibility of competing patents, with both covering the same use cases.
And it is very much a question, with the original filing in 2011, nearly 2 years after the public launch of the Bitcoin project. He continued,
"Considering that cold storage has been used in the open domain for almost as long as Bitcoin has existed, I would suspect that this patent will not survive significant scrutiny, but rather serve the purpose of both enhancing Doug's ability to raise capital and to serve as a barrier to entry for small players unable to afford a patent lawsuit."
BitBills' decision to get back into the Bitcoin cold storage business as its patent application was published may signal their desire to enforce their intellectual property rights sometime in the future if their patent is granted. But even if they don't, this patent could be sold now or in the future to a so-called patent troll. Non-producing companies who collect intellectual property as a tool to generate standing for lawsuits aimed at those who do use the patented process or technology. Canton Becker of BitcoinPaperWallet.com says it's not the patent itself, but its expansive nature.
The fundamental purpose of Bitcoin is to empower individuals to earn, save, and spend money themselves without the aid or the interference of a third party. The problem with BitBills' patent application is that it risks placing an overly broad limitation on everyone's ability to store or exchange Bitcoins without first seeking permission. If BitBill intended to patent their particular invention for X-ray proof BitBill currency, that would be fine by me. But instead, they're making a grab for the entire notion of recording digital money in any physical form at all.
To this point, the Bitcoin ecosystem has been a relatively collaborative space where some of the strongest, most feature-complete offerings are open source, like Armory Wallet, innovating at a fast pace and sharing their innovations with their competitors to maximize the development and adoption of new ideas. The next moves will be telling. LTB has requested comment from BitBills. None was available at press time. This story will be updated with new information as it becomes available. Here are some additional extracts from the patent. Quote, "The digital currency network may be a peer-to-peer network of the kind proposed in a white paper published May 24, 2009 under the name Satoshi Nakamoto, commonly known as Bitcoin." End quote. Quote, "Physical encoding involves using volatile or non-volatile flash memory chips which can be programmed in such a way as to output the secret data at a later time. In some implementations, encoding involves storing the data magnetically on a magnetic tape or a mag strip, which may be read using a special reader to reveal the secret data. In some implementations, the data may be encoded as an alphabetic or numerical characters printed onto paper, which may be read by an unassisted human. In some implementations, the data may be encoded as small physical features etched into a substrate to be read by optical or other means. In some implementations, the data may also be encoded as a series of glyphs printed on paper or another substrate in 1 or 2 dimensions to be read by an imaging device, for example, a barcode. In such implementations, the glyphs could be generated using any of the number of standards such as the QR code standard originally designed by Denso Wave Inc." End quote. Quote, "The material may be a plastic such as a PVC, a wood, a metal, a synthetic printing medium such as a porous polymer film commonly known as Teslin, or an animal hide." End quote. Quote, "The hologram may be printed onto foil that the manufacturer may hot stamp onto the token substrate. It is possible for the manufacturer to use the physically encoded data itself as part or all of the token's body." End quote. Quote, "After the data has been accessed, it should be ensured that no party other than the manufacturer can, quote, repair, end quote, or reconstruct the token in such a way as to convince others that the encoded data has never been accessed." End quote. Quote, although a third party may be able to replace a latex coating after removing it from a token to reveal the token's data, the manufacturer may thwart this attempt to overcome the protective features of the token by using an anti-counterfeiting security measure of microprinting on top of the latex coating, end quote. Quote, although a third party may be able to remove a layer of laminate and the foil wrapper to view the secret data and then replace the wrapper and relaminate the token, the manufacturer may prevent this by printing a security hologram into the foil wrapper which cannot be duplicated and which is destroyed in the process of viewing the secret data, end quote. Thanks for listening to this audio article. This is an experiment. As Let's Talk Bitcoin moves into original writing, we're thinking hard about creating audio versions of each article for release alongside, and would like your feedback. Please email adam@letstalkbitcoin.com with your thoughts, comments, and critique. Thanks for listening.